Hello, this is Goku 4071, and I'm back. This time to kind of do a reply video to Mr. Morj. Not one video, but several. I should have them linked below. Just to go over his opinion on the next Straw Hats. Mainly how he thinks Yamato will not be joining the crew. And the reason I'm bringing this up is he actually gives the arguments for why Yamato will absolutely join the crew by making a video where he says Yamato will not join the crew. He outlines various things that actually strengthen the argument. And Mr. Morj is very thoughtful. He makes very well thought out videos. But he is more on the radical side, and that's great. And he actually gives conviction to his theories. He thinks the raid's gonna fail. And I have not read the chapter that's coming out. This video should be going up right before 10:50. So I have not read that chapter. And to know this will have spoilers up to 10:49 theoretically. I don't think there's anything in the recent chapters that will be in there. But theoretically, if you're not up to date on the manga, don't watch this video. But he recently made a video right before or right after 10:50, and he's like, right before 10:50, and he's like, yeah, the raid's still gonna fail. At this point, I think that's silly. I don't know. I'm gonna read the chapter in a couple hours, and I'm gonna find out my opinion. But let's get into it. But I do respect Mr. Morj. That's the big thing. This is not anything on him as a person. This is just, I disagree with his thoughts. And if he ever does stumble upon this video, because his name will be in the title, I would love him to leave a comment and tell me why I'm wrong. Because I'd love his thought on why he thinks I'm wrong. But with that said, let's finally get into the main topic of the video. His outlined thoughts and why I think he's outlining it, and why I think she will absolutely join the crew, and why I think he is wrong about his number one pick, which we'll get into that in a second, or later on in the video. But we're already 2.5 minutes in, and I have not gotten to any points yet. So Mr. Morj goes through a lot of things, like how nobody has ever joined the crew that asked to join the crew. Well, you're forgetting about Robin. She did. He also goes through the points of how Yamato, everybody thought she was going to join the crew from the beginning. And at this point, we're not actually none of the characters that are joining fit in that camp anymore. That was the East Blue. We're in the new world now. Which we've only had one person join the crew. And to be fair, yes, Jinbei, absolutely, when you first met him, I don't think a lot of people thought he was going to join the crew. Up to the point that we got to Fisherman Island, then I think people started to think that. But there were a lot of characters you would have thought would have joined the crew. So that's not necessarily fair to say. Jinbei is a weird character because he's been with us in the story for so long. He's been in several arcs before he actually joined the crew. He's a unique piece to this puzzle. But he brings up Brooke. I wasn't there at that time. I don't know what people were saying about Brooke. But I wouldn't have questioned it because Brooke seemed like he was going to join the crew. Absolutely. That wouldn't have even passed through my thought that he wasn't going to join the crew. Luffy asked him, he said yes. And he was a fully developed character. Like, yeah, he brings up Luffy's asking a bunch of weird characters to join his crew. Well, Brooke was a musician. Brooke was a unique character. The random zombies were not unique characters. And so I don't think that's a fair assumption. And as I've said, if I'm not mistaken, Nico Robin literally just hopped on the ship and said, I'm joining. But that doesn't matter because we didn't think Yamato was going to join at first. I don't think there's a single person that thought Yamato was going to join at first. And now people are probably rushing to the comments and yelling at me Because they're like, what are you talking about? Of course we thought Yamato was going to join in the beginning. She said it in the beginning. No. Yamato was mentioned dozens of chapters before as Kaido's son. We thought Yamato... People thought Yamato was Katakuri. Katakuri. Literally, that was a theory I have heard. So to say this person was absolutely going to join the crew when we didn't even know who they were or what they stood for. No, we did not. And then when we finally got to meet Yamato, and yes, I'm going to call Yamato her, because the people that get mad at that, I apologize, but Yamato uses male pronouns in the context of that she thinks she's Odin, but in the context of what I'm talking about, I will refer to Yamato as a her, not a him. If that upsets you, I apologize. Please, if you could put a dislike on this video, I would tell you to dislike this video, because that is a fair, rational point for you to do. And please leave in the comment how I'm wrong. I love to hear criticism. But getting back to the point, we didn't know who she was. We didn't have definitive answers. And then when she said I was going to join the crew, well, that was dozens of chapters after we had heard about her. So yeah. Now he goes on this other point, and this isn't about Yamato, but this actually strengthens. And as I've said, he's made points how Yamato is going to join the crew, and this is the big one. So there's a theory going around, and I'm going to leave a link to his video talking about it. It's going to be in the description. And I'm going to describe what's relevant in it. But he goes in this theory where there is a pattern. We have the East Blue, we have the Grand Line, and then we have the New World. And so far in the New World, we have one candidate. But in the last two, we had 4 candidates. And there's a big theory going around that we're going to get 3 more crewmates. And I do believe that is true. But on to that, the second candidate people bring up is a girl. They don't bring up the other commonality. And this is not a small commonality. This is a gigantic commonality, which, guess what? One character, as far as I'm aware, follows both of these commonalities. One character. Not two, sorry. One character. And I'm guessing you know where this is going. Well, we'll get to that in a second. So what is this? What is this other commonality? Well, let's talk about the 2 characters. We got Nami. And we got Robin. They're both girls or women. What else does both of those characters, and just give me a second. Sorry. What do both of these characters... Yes, I have Lego minifigs. These aren't actually Lego. These are fake Lego, but still. I got minifigs of these characters. Sorry, it's kind of hard to... But what do these 2 characters right here also have in common other than they are female? Well, let's talk about the arc that they... So, we first meet Nami, and she's a pirate. She steals from pirates. She's a thief that steals from pirates. And that's technically true, but there's a tattoo on her. This actually is really awesome because it has that. But guess what? She actually cuts her original tattoo. You know why she cuts her original tattoo? Because she's part of a pirate crew. You know what pirate crew she's part of? The Arlong Pirates. Do you know what the Arlong Pirates were? The big bad, the final bad guy before they go into the Grand Line. Okay? They're the end of a entire at the end of an entire saga, the big bad, and you can say Smoker really isn't like an antagonist we fight. He's an antagonist, absolutely. We don't actually fight him. Like Luffy has a quick fight. He's not really in that camp. But guess what? You know what she was doing before she technically joined the Straw Hats? Oh yeah. She was number 2. To what? Yeah. The big bad of the Alabasta arc. Absolutely. So you know what these two characters have in common? Do you know? Have you figured it out? Yeah. They were on the crew of the big bad of a saga. Guess what? There's also another character that's on the crew, that's female, and on the crew of the big bad we're fighting right now. There's one character that fits that. Actually, there are 3. But I don't think anybody thinks the other 2 are going to join the crew. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one of those are going to join the crew. But I can tell you, Carrot doesn't follow that. Would I have a problem with Carrot joining? Absolutely not. Would I have a problem with Tama following? Kind of. Like, I don't really want Tama or... Yeah, I don't really want Tama to join, but that's a personal thing. And if she joins, great. I trust Oda. It's going to be great. It absolutely is going to be great. But guess what? Yamato, you can argue all you want. She's technically on the Beast Pirates. Like, you can argue and say she's not because she disavowed them. She doesn't want to. But she's as much on there as Nami was on the Arlong Pirates. I mean, that's a very fair comparison. So I'm sorry to say, Mr. Morj, Yamato is joining the crew. Maybe I'm going to read 1050, and Yamato says, Luffy, I don't want to join your crew anymore. And maybe this video is already outdated, even before I upload it. But I doubt it. I don't think she's joining the crew in 1050. I could be wrong. I could look it up immediately after and find out she's already joined the crew. But Yamato is joining the crew. Now, I said I was going to talk about his number 1 pick. Mr. Morj's number 1 pick. He thinks a character I talked about earlier is going to join the crew. And I'm not talking about Carrot. He also kind of thinks Carrot's going to join the crew. But his number 1 pick, he is certain Smoker is going to join the crew. Why is he certain Smoker is going to join the crew? Because Smoker doesn't have a purpose in the story unless he's a Straw Hat. He was designed to be a Straw Hat. Well, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Morj, then we have a lot of new Straw Hats we're getting, because there's a lot of characters that fit that exact same mold. Kobe, Garp, a lot of characters fit this mold. Guess what? The Marines are going to change. They need new leadership. He is a loyal Marine. He is going to stay a loyal Marine, but he's not going to stay loyal to the Marines we know now. He's going to stay loyal to the Marines that we're going to be forming in the future. What are these Marines? Well, as I've said, Kobe is going to be part of this. I actually think the head admiral is actually going to be Garp. There's another one. There's another person possible, but I think it's going to be Garp. I think at the end of this story, I think Garp is very much going to be in charge of the new Marines, and he's going to be in charge of it to get it up and running before it takes over. I think Kobe and Smoker are going to be the admirals underneath him. That is what I think their purpose is. I think Smoker's purpose is to show that not all Marines are evil and that you can have a good organization out of the collapse of this bad organization. I think Garp, Smoker, Kobe are all going to be on the side of Luffy at this big battle we're getting at the end. So yes, Smoker is important. Smoker is not Luffy's Garp. Smoker is quite literally a very important character because he shows us that even in the most rotten of organizations, you can have good people. And even people not affiliated with Luffy. He is super, super important. He's not leaving the Marines. He's going to reform them. And yes, technically he's going to lead the Marines when they go at war against the Marines. But then what comes out of that will be greater than anything. So as I said, Yamato will be joining the crew. I could be wrong. I also thought Rebecca was going to join the crew. Go watch that video. It's somewhere on my channel. I was wrong. And I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. And I will be willing to admit if Yamato does not join the crew. But Yamato fits everything. Just because Yamato's story is kind of in the beginning stages doesn't mean that when she changes, she's not staying in Wano. But this was Goku Photo 71. Please leave a comment. Tell me why I'm stupid. And I'll see you next time. YouTube.